Eritrean lobina doksit nirmuqul gandatok Wailale Eritrean lobina doksit nirmuqul gandatok Wailale Eritrean lobina doksit nirmuqul gandatok Wailale Eritrean lobina doksit nirmuqul gandatok nana ولا لنا لا لنا لا لنا لا لنا ولا لنا لا لنا لا لنا لا لنا ولا لنا لا لنا لا لنا لا لنا ذهب غير تقدم دين ربان بانكين وقد بونر مقل سرقاي سرق عدلا تميت ابنين تميت ابنين ويلالي Eritrean lobina doksit nirmuqul gandatok 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 ولا لنا لا لنا لا لنا لا لنا ولا لنا لا لنا لا لنا لا لنا ولا لنا لا لنا لا لنا لا لنا ذهب غير تقدم يدين ربان بانكيني وقد بونر مغل سرقاي سرق عدلا تميت ابني نهل تميت ابني نهل
My name is Amar Adam.
My name is Yafet Tisfaldet.
And today we will be conducting an interview for Era Express. To start off, I would like to say thank you to Jasmine and Salam for joining us today. And let's conduct this interview.
Before we begin asking questions, can you ladies introduce yourselves to the Eritreans around the world?
So, hi, my name is Salam. I am one of the co-founders of Erisa, and I served as treasurer the last academic year, and this fall I will be co-president.
My name is Yasmin, and I'm a student at the University of Minnesota. This past academic year I served as president, and along with Salam, we are two out of the three co-founders of the Eritrean Student Association at the University of Minnesota.
That's excellent. Well, to give us an idea, what is Erisa, and can you talk a little bit about what the group consists of?
So Erisa is short for the Eritrean Student Association at the University of Minnesota, and we are, as we know, the first national chapter of strictly Eritrean student group in the nation. And yeah, we serve the Eritrean population, student population, both here and then in local colleges around like Minnesota. Yeah.
Our student group strives to represent Eritrea through its culture. That it can be through music, film, dancing, songs, etc. And we just hold events on our local campus just to kind of expose our diaspora or college students that also came from Eritrea. Our events are also open to people who are not Eritrean, and it's just a way to create a space for Eritreans in Minnesota, essentially.
So what would you say are the goals of Erisa, and how would you describe the current structure of it?
I would say our main goals, like Salam said, is just providing a space for Eritreans just like come together and experience our culture, especially as like diaspora children. can you repeat the last part of the question?
Oh, what the current structure of the organization looks like?
Yeah, so we currently, our academic year just ended, and like Sanam said, she's gonna be one of the co-presidents for this year. And this is our first year running as like a student organization, but what we did is we had 10 board members, which consisted of like a president, vice president, treasurer, historian, event coordinator, outreach coordinator, and we also had like a treasurer and grants and PR, or grants and fundraising chair, and that's kind of how we operated throughout this year. We all helped out planning events, but then we each kind of had like our designated roles to fall back on and delegate from there.
So, I'm sure you guys are aware that you guys just had your first annual Erisa Cultural Spring Show. So what was like the motivation behind that? What was your reasoning to throw this show? And can you just tell me a little bit more about that?
So I can answer this. Our motivations for the spring show were both for the Eritrean community, but also for ourselves. We started Erisa to create a space for Eritreans on campus, and similar to many of the African groups on our campus, we wanted to have a culture showcase at the end of the year. It's kind of a way for us to participate in our culture rather than being what's the word, like viewers of it. So we actively participate in dancing, learning the culture through writing presentations, and connecting with the greater community here in the Twin Cities.
So can you talk to us about the theme of the show, the love of our land, Fikri Hagana and Habal Watson?
So Fikri Adana, Tigrinya roughly translates to the love of our land, and then Habal Watan is in Arabic, which also translates to the same. And I guess that was just kind of like the overall theme for our spring show. We wanted to have something that recognizes, because Eritrea doesn't have any national language, of course, but more like the three to represent all of our 9 tribes, ethnic groups correctly. So that was kind of what we came up with, and the love of our land just kind of signifies like the love of our land, and we wanted to showcase that through the cultural show that we did. So that was we all kind of coined the term together, and the love of our land just kind of like struck. The love of our land is represented through our board, through our organization, and even through our mission of the Eritrean Student Association. So yeah.
So this was a very unique event, and obviously it was the first annual spring show. I've never seen anything quite like that, and I know a lot of people my age haven't. So could you talk to us about the ethnic diversity of Eritrea and how that became the main focus of this show?
Yeah, so as I stated earlier, our mission statement strives to represent all of Eritrea. That includes like minority groups. So for our spring show, we wanted to make sure that despite the disproportionate amount of Tigrayan people here in the Twin Cities, we equally represented all of the ethnic groups. Despite like the challenges that brought us, that was kind of our like greater goal for the show. Yeah, Jasmine, you want to say more about that?
So it was especially important for me. My mother is Saha and my dad is Tigray. So being a part of the minority of the ethnic groups that are in Eritrea, it was just very important to me to represent every single ethnic group, just as it is, because I feel like there's a misconception about Eritrea that, from outsides typically, outside like viewers who just don't know a lot about like the culture, or just to think that like everything is one, but there's so much diversity across Eritrea and all its different forms. So that was very, very important to me that we like broadcast that as we did.
What was the preparation like to get them to truly hone in on the 9 ethnic groups and their dancing styles?
So for that, we had 2 choreographers who grew up within our community. Their names are Didi and then Betty Tsagai. And so they were our choreographers, and then it was a lot of work. I consulted and I helped out with like my own ethnic groups for Tigray and Saho, but everything else was just preparation through music videos, asking just like community members from different ethnic groups, and then like a lot of practice. So it was just we've been practicing for the dances since January up until literally the day before and the day of the spring show. So that was kind of the preparation behind it.
So one of the standout things, at least in my opinion, was the participation in the performances done by the artists Nights from Chicago, and then also the local rap artist S&M Ranger. So what my question is, what do you think about these artists' participation? How do you feel that they're representing Eritrea, and do you think that they're having a big impact on music nowadays, especially for Eritreans who are trying to do music, at least in America?
Yeah, like I think that having Senai and S&M at our show is an excellent way to empower Eritrean people living in the U.S. You know, we did our best to represent our culture, but we also wanted to amplify Eritrean voices here, and that meant like supporting our American-born Eritreans as well in making their music that might not be very related to Eritrea, but because they're Eritrean, we wanted to support them as well, and we invited them to perform at our show, and gratefully they accepted. So yeah, that's kind of about it.
So how would you say that Tarek and Awed's allowed there to be more culture and flavor in regards to the fashion side of the Erisa first annual show?
So with our performers, we kind of tried to like structure it. So obviously we had like Said Night and S&M, which were kind of more geared towards like the younger audience in our crowd who like represented more of like the student body. And then having Tarek and Awed perform was just almost like a nod to the rest of like the Eritrean community here in Minnesota. And we wanted to do our best to incorporate them both and have representation for not only the students but also just like our community members and our parents and our families and stuff like that. So yeah.
Well, obviously the school year just ended, and the first annual spring show was about 2-3 weeks ago. But in terms of next year, are there any thoughts, ideas? Are we going to have another spring show? I guess this is more for you, Sam.
So definitely for the next year, we are hoping at the moment to have another spring show. That's a year in advance, so we can't give a definitive answer, but the hopes are that this first spring show garnered enough attention and engagement for Erisa that we get more people involved for dancing, for acting. This year we definitely had to stretch our resources to get participants, but we got a lot of positive feedback, so I think that we can be very hopeful that there will be a second one in 2024.
Definitely hope so. Let's see. So heading into, as you ladies both know, we are having our Independence Day a week from today. So is there any message that you hope that this show conveyed to the Eritrean populace and those who aren't Eritrean who'd like to know more about Eritrea from this show?
Yeah, getting more involved with like our community and like engaging with us more, and then also to just like showcasing Eritrea's diversity and in all its forms. I don't know, like as children of the diaspora, I think like a concern of like the elders or like the parents is like they're wondering, oh, like are they gonna like continue like the tradition and like the Bahali, like are they gonna continue on? And I think having Erisa here is like a definite like yes, like that's what we want to do, right? Like we don't want to forget like our culture and our traditions, and then also too like there's just so much more to like learn about Eritrea beyond of what we know. So for Independence Day, I would definitely say that message to everybody.
So last but not least, you speak to the concerns and the ideas for the Eritrean elders, but as children of the Eritrean diaspora, do you have a message to the Eritrean youth that are out there in America and across the world? Any messages to them?
I would say that for anyone who wants to like get involved, even if they're across the world, like they can definitely contact us if they want to like participate in our student group, or if people want advice as to how we started ours or how to structure their own group. Erisa is definitely like an available resource, and while we're small, like we can try and do what we can to support Eritrean people like across the U.S. and like hopefully around the world. But like, do you have anything to add to that, Jasmine?
Yeah, like I was just like being engaged and like staying involved is probably the best option. Like, I mean, you know, we created a whole student group, which obviously was not easy, and it was a lot of work, and there were a lot, like many ups and downs. But you know, just staying engaged, being a part of your culture, even if it's just as simple as like following Erisa or following other student groups that promote Eritrean culture. It doesn't have to be huge, but definitely engagement is probably one of the most important things, and getting involved even as little as much as you can contribute.
So thank you, Jasmine and Sana, for all the amazing time that you guys have given us to answer these questions, and for the amazing work that Erisa does for the Eritrean community on the U of M campus.
Thank you for having us.
نرمقل قندتك ويلالي إريترالوبينا دفت نرمقل قندتك ويلالي إريترالوبينا دفت نرمقل قندتك ويلالي إريترالوبينا دفت نرمقل قندتك